Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. So today's video is going to be over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be showing y'all how I make my 14-day pickles. They've got different names, I think. Some people call them 14-day pickles. Some people call them icicle pickles, sweet pickles, you know, all of the above. But they're delicious. They sound intimidating, but they are so easy to make. So I'm out here picking my cucumbers. I like to get the ones that have gotten a little bigger for these, because for my dill pickles, y'all know, I like these tiny ones for dill pickles. But for the sweet pickles, I like to make actual slices. The youngins have come out here and got them a snack. What are you eating?
Corn.
Not cooked or nothing? It's good like that, ain't it?
Yeah.
Let's see that pretty ear corn you got. Bring it over here. Oh yeah, that's perfect.
The first one I had a worm, had a big giant caterpillar in it.
So you give it to the chickens, didn't you?
Yeah.
Maggie, you gonna eat you a snack too?
Yeah.
Is it good, Jacob?
Hang on, Lovey.
I've got my wash pan full. That should be enough to make us a good mess of pickles right there. Now I do want to say, you know, before y'all see how I make these, that there are so many different types of ways that people make these 14-day icicle pickle, sweet pickles. So this is just the way I do it. I've made this recipe, oh my gosh, probably at least the last 8 years. So it is something that I've done several years. Usually though, I like to make, I've done this the last few times, I like to make about 2 years worth. So several jars at one time. And so I don't have to make them every year. And it just is a little easier on me doing it that way. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's gonna be a lot of work, you know, because I'll be dealing with so many cucumbers for at one time. But then like last year, we were so busy drowning in tomatoes that I didn't have to worry about making at least huge batches of pickles anyway. So I'm gonna get these in the house, get them washed, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. I've cut up most of them. I got a few left. I've got my crock here. That's what I like to make these in. If you don't have a crock, a big glass jar will do you just fine. You know, you may just have to do several of them, but if you've got a good stone crock, it works perfect because you can kind of scoot them out of the way. So when I'm making my sweet pickles, I like to slice them pretty thin. About like that. And you see those seeds there, which they're not terrible in this one, but this just comes from years of making this recipe. You don't have to do this, but it makes for a better, crunchier pickle if you just slice those little seeds right out. Still got a few in there, but in my opinion anyway, it makes for a better pickle. So like this other slice here, you can see it's got quite a bit of seeds there. So we're just gonna slice those right off like that and add them to our crock. Well, I'm gonna say that right there is the hardest part of making 14-day pickles, is getting them all cut up. So my 4-gallon crock is about filled to the top. I had to give it a little room, so I got room to set me a plate down in there and hold my pickles down and all that good stuff. So now let's make our brine. For the start of our brine, we're gonna need 1 gallon of water to 2 cups of pickling salt. Now, for my 4-gallon crock, I'm probably gonna need a little more than that, but that's what I'm gonna start with. Here's my 2 cups of salt. So we're gonna just bring that to a boil, and then we'll pour it over our cucumbers. gonna do a couple like this right here. Got a little scraggler there. Back under the water. So those plates like that are pretty heavy, so that should hold it down. And I'm just gonna lay me a cloth over it just to keep any flies or unwanted critters get in there. I'll tie that around there with a string. So guess what, guys? Now that sits there for 7 days. So you're not supposed to mess with them for a week. I have read different things, like if it gets too gunky on top or, you know, looking foamy, you can do it after 5 days. But usually a week works good for me. You know, if you notice a lot of impurities coming to the top after a few days, you can always scrape that off too. But it doesn't seem to cause a problem for me anyway. You just make sure that your cucumbers are good and clean, your crock you're putting them in is good and clean, the plates you put on top are good and clean, and usually that works out. So your first week is that simple. All right, y'all, so here we are 7 days later with our 14-day pickles. So just remember, like I told you, the water gets a little weird. You know, it's been sitting there for a week. So let me show you what my stuff looks like here. So, see that there? That happens. It's okay. It's normal. I could have dumped this out a couple days earlier and it wouldn't have got this bad. Or I could keep this scraped off. I just don't. And my cucumbers, you probably can't tell, but my cucumbers are still down below the water. So, what I'm going to do now is I want to drain off all that nasty water, rinse off my cucumbers, and then cover them in boiling water. So I want to show you real quick. First I scraped off that mold, and you can see. And so any of these few little scragglers that were sitting on the top, I'll throw those out to the chickens. They look fine, but I don't like to keep the ones that floated to the top. Just with some cool sink water. We're just going to cover them with clean, boiling water. And just like before, you just want them up in there to make sure everybody's covered up. I'm going to stick my plates back down in there. That water's hot, so. Alright, and I'm going to cover it back up. And that's it till tomorrow. What we're going to need to do is heat up a couple of gallons of water to boil with 2 tablespoons of alum in there. And that alum's going to make you have a nice, crisp, crunchy, sweet pickle. And that's something I love about these 14-day pickles is the texture of them. They have a really, really good texture. And that alum does help with that. So we're going to drain off the old water, the clean water. We're going to drain all that off. And then once the alum water gets good and hot, we'll pour that over top. Pickles.
Why do you put flakes over them?
Hold them under the water. There There we go. We'll just cover them up till tomorrow. All right, y'all, here we are on the next day. So y'all know the drill. We're going to drain this alum water off our pickles, and it's finally time to make our pickling syrup. Now, I want to rinse these real good, so I'm just going to run some water over, and I'm going to cover them a couple times with clean water and dump that back out before we get our syrup on them. But you can kind of see what that alum does to these here cucumbers, and it really crisps them up. So we're going to start off with 12 cups of just plain old white vinegar. We're going to put that in our pot here. This recipe calls for 14 cups of sugar. I don't think I have 14 cups of sugar, and I've done it with less. So let's just see how much sugar I happen to have. I actually thought I had a little more sugar than that, but I forgot that I made all this jelly, so that's on me. So I only had half what it called for. I only had 7 cups of sugar versus 14. So what I'm probably going to do, guys, is with these 14-day pickles now, we're going to pour out this syrup every day for the next 4 days and reheat it. So I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow I will just add the additional sugar after I go somewhere and get some. That's just how it goes sometimes, I swear. Think you're ready and you ain't. So anyways, all right, we got that heating up. Now we're going to need some pickling spice. Now, you can make your own pickling spice. I just buy mine. And we're going to need about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons. That's about what's left in my little container here, so I'm just going to pour the whole little thing in there. Some people put cinnamon sticks in their 14-day pickles. I don't. I just usually do the pickling spice there. But you can see now why this is called a syrup and not a brine. Because it is straight up syrup. But I want that to get pretty close to a boil anyway. I want it to get good and hot. I'm going to rinse my pickles one more time. Alright, we're going to stick our plates back on top. Yep, that's enough syrup to cover them. Alright, so now that our syrup is made for our pickles, here we are on the next day. Like I told you yesterday, I had to get some more sugar, so we're going to add that to our syrup tonight. Usually you would just do that all at one time, but I had to get more sugar. So what I like to do, because we got to drain that syrup out of them pickles and heat it up again, then pour it back over them. I just got my big pot here with a colander inside, and I will just pour that as gently as I can into this pot. Now I'm going to be doing this part in the floor because this thing is way too heavy for me to be picking up trying to pour this on the counter. So I may not get out all the syrup, but hopefully I can at least get out most of it. Now we're just going to heat this up to boiling. I'm going to go ahead and add that sugar that I had to leave out because I was out. And this is what we're going to do for like the next 3 evenings. And then on the 4th day, we're going to can them. It's just exactly what you saw me do here. You're going to pour out your syrup and you're going to boil it, pour it back over your pickles. And then on that 4th day, you can try them See what they taste like. And they will be oh so good, I promise. All right, we're gonna pour our hot mixture back over our pickles. Make sure everybody is under the water, or under the mixture, just like that. We're getting into short rows, y'all. These pickles are almost done. Well, y'all, guess what? Here we are, 2 weeks, our 14-day pickles. We're finally getting ready to do the final step. So what we're going to do today is we're going to filter out that syrup, just like we've been doing the last couple of days. And we're going to bring it to a boil. But we're going to go ahead and get our pickles in a jar. We're going to see how many it makes. I'm guessing 15-ish pints of pickles. We'll see. Alright, I've got my syrup cooking there. We want to get that really, really good and hot. So what we're going to do now is get our pickles in our jar. So I've set my crock over here in my sink. And what I do is I just neatly put them in my jar here. Now, I do not water bath these. I just put the really hot liquid in there. And I have read different things. But supposedly, these do not have to be canned. Supposedly. Megan ain't never done that. I always do them this way. But maybe they don't have to be canned because they're kind of fermented. I don't know. That one's too big for that one. And I just neatly put them in there till my jar gets pretty full. Like that right there. That looks pretty good. Now, one thing about these 14-day pickles, they're not like the dill pickles. The dill pickles, after about a year, like, they kind of lose their, I don't know, flavor a little bit. They're not quite as good. I don't know. After a year, like, if I have leftover dill pickles, I use those for fried pickles or, you know, feed a few of them to the pigs. But I've honed in pretty good about how much I need through the year. So I usually don't have a ton of anything left over. But these right here now, the longer these sit, ooh, the better they get. They really do. The ones we've been eating on, I've actually got a couple jars left, are 2 years old. And right now, oh my gosh, they are still just so, so good. But you can actually just eat them right now. Wow. Delicious. My gosh. Good and crunchy. That's what I'm talking about. So this is a lengthy process, but it's not a hard process. You just have to allow yourself a few minutes each day. Well, after that first week anyway. A few minutes each day just to work on your pickles. I did make some one year that, well, it was like me and Andy hadn't been married long, and I don't know if I found a recipe somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what I did. I tried to make some, though, and they were like Aunt Bee's pickles. They were terrible. Like, we couldn't eat them. They all got fed to the pigs because they were that bad. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I did. I don't know if I looked up a recipe, if I, like, did something wrong. I don't know. But I got intimidated after that, and it took me years to do it again. And I come up, you know, looked up different recipes and kind of put things from different recipes together into this to make what we've got here. Oh, yeah. And you can see by their color, that's why they're called icicle pickles. They get all white like that. I mean, I guess that's why they're called icicle pickles. That was my guess. And now I know some people will put the pickling spice like in a little bag if you don't want all that stuff floating in your pickles. A lot of people will put them like in a little, I guess maybe it's made out of cheesecloth or something, little sack, and keep it in the brine that way. That way you don't have those little pieces in there, but I like to leave them in there. They don't bother us. Well, y'all, my guesstimate was off quite a bit. I made 22 pints of pickles. So I have brought my syrup. It's a boiling right now, so it's ready to be put in the jars. Now, some of you may ask, why in this world would I struggle with this darn 4-gallon crock when I could do it separately in bowls in small batches? And that's absolutely fine. You can totally do that. I just like to, while I'm doing it, I'm just going to do it. You know, if I can get it all done at one time, that's the way I'm going to do it. It works out best for me that way, and it's a little cumbersome managing that big thing with all these pickles in them, but in the end, you know, when I get these fixed, I'm done. So I'm gonna get my jars filled up. I'm just going to make sure my pickles are covered. Well, there's the finished product. So I get the question a lot, why do I turn my jars upside down? So when I'm doing the open kettle method, this is what I do. It's the way I was taught. It's an old-fashioned method that is totally not recommended, so do it at your own risk. Megan ain't telling you to do it. But I will leave them flipped upside down like this till, I don't know, probably tonight. If I forget about them till tomorrow morning, they'll be fine too. But I'll turn them over and take the ring off, check the seal, and store them in my basement. So that's why I do that. It kind of puts the heat against that seal, helps keep your lid hot. And like I said, it's the way I was taught anyway. So guys, I know today's video was way different than the vlogs we normally do, but I really wanted to show y'all how simple it is to make these old-fashioned 14-day pickles. And I wanted to put it all together in one video. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you. I hope it encouraged you that you can make your own 14-day pickles. They sound way more intimidating than they really are. And let me know down in the comments if you decide to make these, or if you made them and you love them, or even if you don't love them. I mean, everybody's taste buds are different. But remember, this recipe is going to be down in the description. And anyways, guys, till we see y'all on the next one, y'all have a good one.